Hi everyone, in today's lesson we're going to talk about how to graph rational functions with holes. So the first thing that we're going to do is first factor. Factor to see if we can find any holes or discontinuities. So this first example, we can factor the top to x plus 4, x minus 4. And the bottom, 3, parentheses, x plus 3. Now if you analyze this, it looks like there are no common factors, so there are no holes. Okay, now if we want to find the next part, which is vertical asymptotes, we set the denominator equal to 0. So 3x plus 3 equals 0. We t-chart. 3 equals 0 makes no sense, so we reject that. And we have x equals negative 3. So this here is my vertical asymptote. So let's, after we do something, let's graph it. Okay, so x equals negative 3 is this right here. And that is my vertical asymptote. Now let's find a horizontal asymptote. So we're going to look. The degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator, so there is none. No horizontal asymptote. So now there must be a slant asymptote. So we're going to do long division to find my slant asymptote. So 3x plus 9 divides into x squared plus 0x minus 16. Okay, so what do I multiply 3x by to get x squared? This one's going to be a fraction, so we're going to multiply it by 1/3 x. So 1/3 x times 3 is x squared plus 1/3 times 9 is 3x, and we subtract. So 0 minus 3 is a negative 3x minus 16. So how many times does 3x go into negative 3x? You should be saying minus 1 and multiply. Negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times 9 is negative 9. We subtract. Negative 16 plus 9 is negative 7. So my slant asymptote is the equation y equals 1/3 x minus 1. So let's go ahead and graph that. Okay, so we start always at the y-intercept, right? This is mx minus b or plus b. So we're going to start at the y-intercept of negative 1, which is right down here, negative 1. And we're going to do a slope of 1/3. So what that means is up 1 over 3. So we're going to go up 1 over 3. Up 1 over 3. Up 1 over 3. And now go down the opposite way. Down 1 over 3. So on and so on. And connect. And this is my slant asymptote of y equals 1/3 x minus 1. Okay, let's see what's next. Next is part 5, find any x and y intercepts. Okay, so an x-intercept occurs when y is equal to 0. So let's start from the original equation, which is f of x equals x squared minus 16 over 3x plus 9, and we're going to plug in y is 0. So 0 equals x squared minus 16 over 3x plus 9. Put over 1, cross multiply, factor by dots, t-chart, negative 4 and positive 4. This is positive, that's negative. So remember, x-intercepts are points, so 4, 0, and negative 4, 0. So we could actually go ahead and label that. So negative 4, 0, and 4, 0. Maybe I'll use a different color. So negative 4, 0, and 4, 0. And let's find some y-intercepts. So remember, a y-intercept is when we set x equal to 0. So f of x equals x squared minus 16 over 3x plus 9. So 0 equals, so y equals 0 squared minus 16 over 3 times 0 plus 9. So y is equal to negative 16 over 9, which you can find a decimal equivalent if you'd like, which is approximately negative 1.78. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 1.78. So about here. Alright, so now if we look at this graph, we're missing some pieces. We're not really sure where it goes. So this is where you may need to find some additional points. So my suggestion with the additional points is, let's make a table here, x and y, is let's see maybe where is this graph going in this direction. So I would try negative 10, negative 7. So negative 10, negative 7. Then like where's the graph going between here and here? So I would try negative 2, 0, and maybe 1, or positive 2. Okay, and then where's the graph going in this direction? So we know that it's headed here, maybe, so maybe after, between maybe 7 and 10, so maybe here and here. Okay, so let's write that down. So 7 and 10. So take a minute, put this original function, this, into the calculator, and give me those additional points. Okay, these are the values that you should have gotten. Negative 10, negative 4, negative 7, negative 2.75, negative 2, negative 4, 0, negative 1.78, 2 is negative 0.8, 7 is 1.1, and 10 is approximately 2.2. So let's go ahead and graph these points. So we've got negative 10, 4. So negative 10, negative 4. So that'll be right about here. Okay, then we have negative 7, negative 2.25, which is about here. So this graph, if you could tell right here, looks like it's headed this way. Whoops, it shouldn't cross there, but that's what it should look like. Now let's look at between here and here. So we have 0 is negative 1.78. So we already have that. 2 is negative 0.8. So here. 7 is 1.1. And 10 is 2.2. So somewhere here. So it looks like this one is going this way. That's my rational function. Okay, so keeping all this in mind, let's move on to the next question. Alright, so let's graph it, see if there are any holes. So the first thing we're going to do is factor. So factoring the numerator gives us x plus 4, x plus 2. Factoring the denominator gives us x plus 4 and x plus 1. We have a hole where there's a common factor. So this means there's a hole at x equals negative 4. Now the simplified function that's left is x plus 2 over x plus 1. So my vertical asymptote is only going to be on this simplified version. So for vertical asymptote, you want to say set the denominator x plus 1 equal to 0 and solve. X equals negative 1. Horizontal asymptote, well, the degree of the numerator is equal to the degree of the denominator, so we take the ratio of the coefficients. They both have a 1, so the answer is y equals 1. Therefore, there's no slant asymptote. And maybe we could figure out the coordinates of this hole. Remember, we have to find the y value. So our new function is this guy. So I have f of negative 4. So negative 4 plus 2, negative 4 plus 1. So negative 2 over negative 3 is a positive 2/3. So negative 4, comma, 2/3. But what's 2/3 as a fraction, a decimal? It's about 0.7. So that's where I have a hole. So let's graph what we have so far. We have a hole at negative 4.7. So here we could just put an open circle. We have a vertical asymptote at negative 1, just here. We have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. So I have a picture like that. So now we need to find the x and y intercepts. So I think now we have enough information that you could finish it. Do the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, and additional points, and then hit resume when you're finished. Okay, here's your answer. Okay, so I got that the x-intercept was negative 2, 0, so I plotted it here. And then I got my y-intercept was 0, 2, so I plotted it here. And then I looked for additional points. I looked for, since I had the hole and I had the x-intercept, I looked for these two. You could choose any two you want, so that means this graph is going this way. And then on this other side, I just looked where it went from 2, 6, and 10. So it looks like it's getting smaller and smaller, so this is what your graph should look like. Okay, that's pretty much it on graphs. Any questions you might have, please ask in class tomorrow.